So what was it about Vanderpump that made you want to come on board?
I think just the talent that was like Lisa Vanderpump, like the idea of working on a show with Lisa Vanderpump, and then I heard that Kelley and Lauren were also going to be on the editing team, and I was like, there's this the content's going to be too good, I can't pass it up, I have to get on this show.
Yeah, I mean, kind of following the same path as her. It's Lisa Vanderpump. Everybody loves an opportunity to get closer to her, and she's amazing and brings so much to everything she does. And with Vanderpump Villa, it was really fun getting to see her put her spin on this whole other world, and yeah, just getting to be a part of that. I did not want to pass that opportunity up, and it was great to get to work with a lot of the same editors I've been with before in the past.
Yeah, same. I mean, it was just such a fun show to work on, and with Lisa and the cast. But we got to work with a lot of the same people that we've worked with before. Jacob Lane was our executive producer, and we, got to work with him again. And it's always great on a first season. You work with people that you've already built trust with, so that you can really, explore and hone in the style and the music and the sound effects on a first season show, and you get to be creative.
Now, I'm thinking there might be an opposite problem. Too much awesome material, because she's awesome. But that creates a problem in editing, because now you have to distill. How's that experience been when you actually, it's really the getting rid of the good stuff. How's that process been?
It's always sad when you get to the point where you have to we have a certain runtime, we have to take some stuff out, you have to kill your babies, and
Yes.
you're just,
That's
a lot got left on the editing room floor.
Yeah, it's a dark phrase, but fairly accurate, because it's something you worked really hard on, and some stuff is great, but there simply isn't enough time, or maybe it doesn't really fit with the story you're trying to tell anymore. And if only you could see the vault of things that don't make it to the air.
Yeah, what was great about working on this show is that Hulu really wanted to keep the comedy. So a lot of times in unscripted television, when you're, trimming down a show to get it to around the time that you want it to air at, before it was getting it to time when it aired on, a network, but this is a streaming platform, so you can play a little bit with the time. But just being able to keep the comedy, they really wanted to have all those comedy moments, and so we didn't actually get rid of those moments. Those sometimes are the first to go, and on Vanderpump Villa it was great and really fun because we got to keep those moments.
My final question is, we're going back to the old days, when you're younger and in school, did you always know you wanted to be editors, or did you find a different path?
I actually didn't like editing when I was in college. I was who wants to sit in a dark room by themselves for 8 hours a day? And then I tried some different stuff. And then I happened to get a job tape logging on Real World. And that was my first introduction to post-production. And I fell in love with editing, and now I'm all I want to do is sit in a dark room by myself for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I actually kind of knew I wanted to edit from an early age. Somehow kind of fell into it in high school and ended up working as an editor for my high school's video yearbook. Went to school, studied film. That they don't really teach you editing. That's kind of something you just figure out on your own. Luckily, I really loved it, and so it just was something I would spend a lot of time doing on my own through school. And yeah, I just was determined to get a job as an editor, and got my first start as a logger for the Real World. And yeah, we were blogging tapes.
I actually in college was studying to be a broadcast journalist, and that's why I learned how to edit first off. But I just remember in college watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians and being like, wow, what a fun job that would be to pick the shots in the show. And then cut to now I'm an editor, and I've worked on Keeping Up with the Kardashians and was able to, work on the show. But sometimes you just don't, I think coming from Detroit, Michigan, I didn't fully think that was a job opportunity that I could have. And then once I realized oh, this is the path and this is how you can make it to be an editor, then, I knew that that's what I wanted to do for sure.
So, all right, well, actually, I was very curious. I noticed something. You went home to your college and gave a speech. How was that experience?
Incredible. I thought I was going to be doing something like that 40 years down the line. So for them to ask me hey, come back, we really want you to speak to the students, it was just such an incredible experience. I was so thankful for them having me. It was also nerve-wracking. I've never spoken to a class or that many people before, but I'm really, really proud of what I said and the message that I gave to these students, and telling them about my story and like how I got to where I was. I felt like it was a good inspirational route for them, so I was really happy that I did that.
Well, I know from a student standpoint, they sometimes want to see a face closer to themselves.
Exactly.
Like, because they see the 60-year-old, they see me, the old man, 56. They're getting like, whatever, I'm not, that's a long time. So, but what was the feeling? Because you were just in the other side of that just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Were we able to take stock of that?
Yeah, it was literally exactly 10 years to the date of when I graduated. So it was so surreal to be like, I was literally sitting where you were, and then now I'm standing on the stage talking to you and telling you about how I got to where I am. It's amazing. It was incredible.
And of course, you're in the casting, so that is a field that a lot of students don't know anything about. Yes. They would if they knew.
Yes, exactly.
What would be a way you think for the A to reach students that, or B at least to like, what could they do to break in?
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget about casting. Just like they know that the actors are on there, but they don't know how to get there. Or same with any of the talent, right? So, looking at everything behind the scenes, seeing, do you want to do costume design? Do you want to do acting? Well, like, you figure out what your niche is and then go from there, right? And I love casting, obviously. Casting is my favorite thing that I ever do, and I just fell into becoming a casting director. It was never something that I sought out, but I loved it. And I think people are afraid to take chances on something that they've never tried. So go ahead and DM me, message me on Instagram, LinkedIn, like literally all of that, and just network with people and talk to them about their careers. Everyone that loves what they do will gladly share that advice.
It seems like you make an interesting point that I never really thought about before. It seems like you have to be a student of all the different jobs. Like you have to understand from an artistic standpoint, costume, acting, screenwriting, DP. So that's obviously, so for you, do you think that background in your study of that helped?
Oh, 100%. It definitely helped. It made me realize that, like, hey, I don't like standing on set. No, it's not for me. Doing 12 hours on set, I was like, absolutely not. But I also realized that what I'm good at is finding the untapped talent that hasn't had the chance to getting their shine. And when you realize that's the thing that you're really, really passionate about, just keep on doing that and making a career out of it.
So what made you want to come on board for Griselda?
Well, when I first heard that Sofia Vergara was playing the role of Griselda Blanca, I was like, sign me up. I had been working with the team with Narcos Mexico. So when we're doing, I think, season 3 probably, Narcos Mexico, started hearing about Sofia doing this, playing this role, and I was like, right away, I was like, I got to do this. And, I reached out to director Andy Baez and said, hey, I want to be part of this show, and that's kind of how it happened. But it stems from, I think, honestly, Sofia's portrayal. Well,
that's my question. How challenging was it to make Sofia, who is pretty good at Modern Family comedy, she has a wonderful at it, bad?
Yeah, well, I mean, from the get-go, even Sofia was aware we wanted to get away from, her character on Modern Family. That was our mission, and so. But you know what, Sofia, from the raw footage, she killed it. I mean, she was phenomenal. And look, she got nominated for the Emmy. I'm so happy for her. Well deserved. She can do it. She, right away, I think I noticed that in the footage. That all right, we have the material was there. It was just now a matter of how we molded it, right? But she did it. It's there in the raw footage.
Was it challenging doing kind of a darker anti-hero story for you?
It was. No, it wasn't necessarily. I mean, I don't necessarily think so. I mean, I had worked already again with the Narcos Mexico crew, so I kind of had a bit of that experience. But maybe I guess being Sofia in this case, it's because you do have that image, right? Personally, you're like, all right, I know this person from like Modern Family, and I followed Sofia's career, for years, and so now playing this character, you just approach it differently. But as I seen her performance and how strong it was, I just leaned into that and just made sure to pick the best takes,
What was that Invincible that made you want to come on board to do the project?
Well, we came on for season 2 of the project, so the show had already been out for 1 season and was just this like major smash hit in adult animation. So specifically for us, it was like such an exciting opportunity to be brought on board of a project that's already out there in the universe and doing so well. And it also gave our company a chance to work more in adult animation, which is really cool and unique for us.
Yeah, how's that transition been artistically? How's that been slipping into that role?
Artistically, it's been really fun. Adult, especially brutal, kind of visceral animation like Invincible, it allows you to play around with things like blood and guts and real guns and bullets and things like that. So it's like a whole different playground than working in kids TV, which we usually work with. So it was really fun to kind of experiment in those different circles. I would say sometimes it's a little quease inducing for me on the mix stage because I have to watch these things over and over and over again. But the more queasy I get, the more I know we're accomplishing what we're trying to do for the audience. So it's really fun. And also, just specifically, Invincible's not afraid to like tell a big intimate moment of the story and get quiet and things like that. And so having the time to breathe is a real luxury, and we don't get that in a lot of kids shows. They're a lot more hyperactive.
Oh, so that's interesting because that's one of the things. Sound. One of the students I know with sound, they always wanted too much sound.
Yes.
They don't know when to pull it back. Is that something that you would kind of also maybe or advise younger sound people to keep that in mind?
Yeah, I would definitely advise anyone that's coming onto their career. I mean, you want to do more and more and more, but the truth of the matter is it's all about the story and what the story drives in you. So there are definitely quieter moments where it requires a whole lot less sound, and I think that that's really important to be sort of mature enough to recognize those moments and play them for what they are. Even music, I'm a mixer, so I'm working the music in. Even pulling music out of a certain moment can change the whole vibe of a scene, and all of a sudden it feels very quiet and intimate.